You want to find that drive and focus that has you locked in and on fire every single day? My book, The Mirror Motivation, will do it for you. I bought a copy for you. You take care of the shipping. The book is free. Click the link down there. I got you.
DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Sometimes athletes say things like, I got a player on my team who's getting more playing time than me, but I'm better than him, even though he plays more. Or I'm better than these 3 guys who made the team, but I know I'm a better player than those players. And I understand this. I've seen this. I'm trying to think if I've ever experienced it. I'm sure I have. I can think of when I first started playing ball overseas, and I would go to an exposure camp, and I would see some players, and I'm looking at them play, and I'm like, all right, he's okay, but I know I'm a better player than him. But then I would see his resume and like the player bio handout. They got a little booklet that gets handed out to exposure camp, and I'm looking at players on the court, looking at them play. Then I'm looking at them in the book and looking at their careers. I'm like, yo, dude been playing overseas for 3 years. Like, he just got a deal. Like, he's a bum. How has he been playing longer than me? How has he got a deal when a year than I didn't get a deal? And I'm like, I know I'm better than this dude, but then I'm looking at his results as far as the way that we would measure it as far as having a career. This dude had more results than me. So I want y'all to understand something. In sports, as it is in life, is not always about, sports in life are not 1000% merit based. This is the reality. This is the Machiavellian reality that many of you have to come to understand. And just because you're young is not the reason why people don't understand it. Because there are people who are my age, there are people in their 40s and 50s who just don't seem to grasp this emotionally. That just because you believe, or maybe you can prove that you're better than another person, doesn't mean you deserve more reward or more success or more fill in the blank than that person just because you're better. Did you hear what I just said? Just because you're better does not mean you deserve or you will get more fill in the blank than that person just because you're better than them. Even if you are better and you can prove it, whatever way you prove, whatever proof makes you better, because better is an adjective, is an opinion term. So, but you get the point of what I'm saying here. Sometimes in life, and let me explain why that's the truth. Why is that what it is? Because sometimes in life, many times in life actually, what gets a person a certain situation or position or money or results or achievement is not necessarily because they were just so good. Timing matters, positioning matters, the role matters, meaning how they fit in with what's already happening, what the timing of what is needed in the whatever space they're in at the time that they do what they do. All of those things matter. For example, if you're a basketball player and you want to play, let's say you're a small forward and you're trying to get a tryout in the NBA right now, and then you go try out for the LA Lakers, you're trying to get in the position of LeBron James' position. LeBron's going to play a certain number of minutes, and he's getting he has a certain amount of gravity, certain amount of cachet, trying to be that position player or whatever position you call LeBron, because I know people say he's a whatever. You get the point that I'm making here. Let's not get into the semantics when that's not the point. You're trying to play the position that LeBron plays, but you want to get on LeBron's team. That's a bad idea. It's bad timing. It's bad positioning, and it's a bad role for that team. Now, if you were tried out for damn near any other team in the league who needed someone at that type of position, who can play that type of game, you might be perfect. But if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, the wrong role, the wrong fit, you may never end up getting a chance to play in the league because you just happen to go to the wrong team with the wrong offer based on their timing. But if you would have went to the Timberwolves or, I don't know, the Sixers or Boston or San Antonio with that same offer, you might have got yourself a look. So do you understand how, and you might be better than some dude sitting on the end of the bench in the Lakers, but you ain't in the league and he's in the league. You're like, damn, I'm better than this dude who's sitting at the end of the bench. You may be better than him, but are you better than him for the role that he plays on that team this year? Probably not. See, just because you're better, you think about a sports team is not made like an all-star team, right? The Dream Team or the Team USA or the All-Star Game, you notice that they only play a few games together, right? They don't play a whole season together. You know why? You know why it's set up that way? Because everybody on the All-Star team is used to being a man on their team, the man or close to being the man on their team all the time, right? Now you put them on the All-Star Game, somebody's the 10th man. Somebody who's used to being the number one guy on their team is the 10th man for one night, or the 10th man for 3 weeks while they play for Team USA. It can last for 3 weeks, but they're not going to do that for the whole season because people have egos, people have certain things they expect, people have certain ways that they want to conduct themselves, but they put all that aside temporarily because they know it's temporary. Now, let's say you take the whole Western Conference All-Stars and make them play a whole season together. There's going to be some disgruntled players on that team because somebody ain't getting the ball as much as they expect to. Somebody's not starting when they've been starting their entire life, basically. Somebody's not getting the ball at all, but they got a max contract, and it ain't going to work out. The point that I'm making is roles matter. Positioning matters. Timing matters. So just because you think you're better than another player, I'm not telling you that I don't believe you. You may be better than that other player. Maybe you're not, but let's just say that you are better than that other player. That doesn't mean you should be playing more than them. That doesn't mean that you should be on the team and they should not be on the team. Because a team is not about, let me just get the best of everything and just throw them all together and hope it works. A team is, let me fill the roles that I want to fill the way that I want to fill them. This is the coach talking, or the owner, or whoever puts that team together. Let me fill these roles the way that I want to fill them, in a way that each person complements the other piece. All right? Everybody is like a car. You put a car together. Any of you know anything about design of a car? Any of you is an auto mechanic? You don't have to be. If you ever been in a car, you notice every piece of that car is not the engine. All right, everybody can't be the engine. All right, there's only one engine in a car. Maybe there's a twin engine in some cars. Then you have one piece got to be the hood. Something got to be the door handle. Something got to be the little knobs that you use to adjust the mirrors on the outside. Something got to be the little buttons that you use to roll up the automatic windows. Some piece got to be the sunroof. Some piece got to be the bumper. Some piece got to be a tire. Some piece got to be a lug nut that keeps the wheel connected to the axle. Some piece got to be the brakes. Some piece got to be the windshield wiper. Everybody has to play a role. So let's say you were an engine. Let's just use this metaphor of a car. Let's say you're an engine. You describe yourself as an engine and you go try out to be part of a Ferrari, but you ain't quite as good as the engine that's in that Ferrari. All right, you could be the best engine in the world. You could be number 2 engine in the world. But if the number 1 engine is already in the Ferrari and you're trying out for the Ferrari, you ain't making that Ferrari team. Do you understand what I'm saying? Extending that metaphor. Do you understand? Now, you could be more valuable to the dollar than the handles, than the seats, than the leather, than the gear shift, than the display, the LCD display, than the windshield wipers, than the vents, than the back seats, than the floor mats. You could be more valuable than every other piece of that car except the engine. But since you're an engine and you're trying to be the engine, but the engine that they already got is better than you, you ain't gonna be on the team even though you're better than 99% of the parts on that car. Do you follow what I'm saying there? Hopefully everybody stay with me in that metaphor. So in teams, when teams are being put together, it's not always about the best players. Now, I have said when coaches are having tryouts, one thing they're looking for is talent. They're looking for talent. But understand, coaches are also human. And not everybody has the same hierarchy of what they're looking for all the time based on the roles that they need to fill, or at least the roles they anticipate to need to fill. Which means, in conclusion, I'm gonna end it on this. Just because you think you're better than somebody doesn't mean you deserve their spot. You may be better than them, but they fill their role better than you do. Because see, you could come on a team. I remember I was on a team once and there was this dude who wasn't from my neighborhood. This is a local team and I was a teenager. He wasn't from my neighborhood. He thought he was better than everybody. And he didn't really fit with our team. He was a good player. He was not a bad player, but he didn't fit with our team simply because he believed he should be the number 1 guy on the team. Now, if he would have came in and said, you know what, I'm gonna be the number 6 guy or the number 8 guy on this team, he would have fit perfect. But because his mindset was, I gotta be the number 1 guy on any team that I'm on, he didn't last the whole season with our team, not because he couldn't play, but because he had a certain expectation for what position he would play, what role he would fill on that team, but he didn't understand. He wasn't mature enough to understand, and he was only 14, but you could be 44 and not be mature enough to understand. Just because you think you can fill a role on the team doesn't mean the team wants you for that role. And if you can't fall into a different role, then you're not gonna be on the team at all. And some of you players need to understand that. It ain't always about being better. Sometimes it's just about fitting best with what that team, organization, company, business, etc. needs at that time. And this is a skill. It's a skill of insight. And I did a whole episode on my podcast on that. I don't have every episode out on video. So if you want to hear my podcast, you need to get the audio. Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, what's the other one? Spotify. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts is there. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.